To be successful in anything, you have to understand the rules on how to play if you're going to have a chance at winning. Let's pretend for a second like Chris and I were going to go play Monopoly, and he's never played before in his life. What would be the first thing Chris would have to do if he wants to just have a chance at winning? Read the rule book. He'd have to read the rule book. If he doesn't know the rules, he'll never have a chance at winning in this game. And that's the biggest thing why I find people are unsuccessful in most things in their life is they don't understand the rules of the game. Most of us were taught the same set of rules for how to be successful growing up because for the most part, where do we get our ideas from? Our parents, who else? Our teachers, school for sure. Anybody else? TV, media for sure. I had the best childhood on the planet. My parents are absolutely amazing. My dad's a construction guy. My mom was super fortunate to be a stay-at-home mom. I learned so many valuable things growing up. My dad taught me how to work hard. My dad's the hardest worker I know. He taught me how to, treat women. He taught me to go to church on Sundays. Don't eat yellow snow in the wintertime. A lot of valuable things, right, to know. But unfortunately, he couldn't teach me how to get wealthy. Why? Because he wasn't wealthy. I'm not going to try to teach you how to speak Chinese today. You know what I mean? Because I don't speak Chinese. I don't know how to teach you that. So my dad, he wasn't able to teach me how to be wealthy. I didn't grow up in that home where that was like a part of the conversation. What I found is most people that grow up, kind of middle income, middle class families, we just that's what we teach our kids to be. We train them in ways to go out there and be middle class. Do you guys realize that in Donald Trump's home with his children, he's not teaching them, hey, get good grades, 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life, try to retire on 40% of your income. Social Security is the way to go. He's not teaching them that. Now that made sense to me logically, but I didn't know what he was teaching them. I was like, I know Warren Buffett's not teaching his kids the same things that my dad was. I know there's some different information going on in that house. I don't know what that is though. And so I wanted to find out what it was. That's what kind of led me on this journey and this start here to network marketing. And here's basically what I want to open up today with is understanding. I want to give you the playbook. I want to give you the rule book on how to be successful, how to go out there and actually have a win here. And I want to share with you why I personally believe this is the best place to pursue success. Because there's a lot of other places to go out there and pursue success today in the business world, right? A lot of people, especially in today's economy, are saying, I got to go back to school. I want to get another degree. I got to get a higher education. Maybe I'll be more employable if I get my master's, my PhD. Some people are saying, man, I've had it with the job market. I don't want to be in the job market anymore. I want to start my own small business, which I've done that. Small businesses are risky, but if I can get like a proven franchise, that might be something, get out like a franchise, something like that. I want to talk about network marketing as it relates to those other industries. Now, by the way, here's what I found too, is all of us have different definitions of success. You ask somebody, what does it mean for you to be successful in your life? And you'll get a lot of different answers. So you could survey 10 people, get 10 different answers. For somebody, it's maybe I just want to have time with my wife and kids. For somebody else, it's making a ton of money, like hand over fist. For another person, it's travel. I just want to travel and see the world. For another person, maybe it's education. I want to learn other languages and I want to learn other hobbies or skills. Here's my definition of success, is whatever you can achieve success on your terms. Success on your own individual terms, that's really what it is. And how many of you guys are committed to being successful? Just in general, say aye. Aye. So I looked at college because that was the thing that I was taught originally to go out there and do. We just recently had an election, and one of the biggest platforms that they were talking about during the election was the fact that 53% of college graduates this last year could not find work. Now, think about that. That's a real number. 53% of college graduates could not find work at all. Over half. Here's what it is. Of the 47% that actually could find work, this is going to sound weird for a second. 40% of those students could find work that graduated. 85% of the 40% did not get a job in the field they got their degree in. So maybe they went to school for criminal justice and they had gotten to a job that had nothing to do with the major that they had in college. For me, that was really interesting because growing up my entire life hearing go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and the fact that over half of people couldn't be successful using that model, and on top of that, even the ones that could find work had nothing to do with the education that they got, that was really interesting to me. Most people have to go out there and actually take out a loan to go to college. How about this, just by show of hands here. Who here had to actually take out a loan to go to school? Let me hear some of the loan amounts that had to get taken out just to go be a student. $60,000, $45,000, $72,000, $35,000, $80,000. Wow. So that's a lot of money. And now for me, here's really the vision I had. When I was growing up, it was like, okay, when I graduate college, there's going to be a line of CEOs ready to shake my hand and just, waiting for my resume. They're going to be just pumped on me, ready, like, this is it. Like, I made it, you know what I mean? I found out that's not the case. Right? Like, wait, I still have to go apply places? And like, they don't want me? And I was like, Uncle Sam, like, we want you. You know what I mean? Like, that's not it. So you have to go out there. Now, here's what's so interesting, guys, is we'll sell out. You tell the average person, hey, man, maybe going to college isn't the best route to success. Now, again, this is all relative. Now, we want our people, there's certain professions you have to be well educated. Nobody wants our doctors and our hospitals to be uneducated. Right? That'd be terrifying. We want those people to be educated. Here's one of the biggest things I found is that that's why people in this industry don't do well. How many of you guys have heard negative things about this industry? And if you haven't, you will, but I want you to understand there's two big reasons for that, I feel. Number one is we're an industry that accepts anybody. Like, think about it. We'll take Daryl, his brother Daryl, his sister Daryl. Right now, as we speak, there are people applying for a job at Walmart that don't qualify to work there, but we'll take them. Right? So an industry that accepts everybody, I mean, you don't understand, like maybe a little bit higher failure ratio, but also on top of that, training is completely optional. And I've talked about this. Imagine if being a doctor, training was optional. You would be terrified to go to the hospital. You'd be like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm going to get worse if I go there. Right? What if being a pilot, training was optional? Would you fly anywhere ever? Every time you saw a plane fly over your head, you'd be like, no. Right? It'd be like crazy. But in this industry, I mean, think about it, guys. Just right now, as we're recording this training, there are people that live 5 minutes from where we are right now that, for whatever reason, didn't make the decision to be here today. Something else was more important, something else got in the way, whatever it was, and training is completely optional. The reason why you see people that have massive success here compared to other places is in college, it's easy to weed them out. How many of you guys notice, like, your freshman orientation in college is just packed, and then even like a semester in, it's like, where the heck did everybody go? By the time you get to your senior year, it's like, where is everybody? You know what I mean? It's so much smaller. This industry weeds people out in very much the same way. You go out there, go to school, you take out a student loan. For the most part, I had to take out a student loan. I wasn't, I mean, if you come from a wealthy home and you were privileged for that, I mean, phenomenal for you. But most of us don't end up there. Guess when the average person pays off their student loans, how old they are? Between 50 and 60 on average. You get this education that you're not guaranteed anything when you graduate. There's no guarantees. And you go out there and actually apply to the job market. Let's say you're fortunate enough to be part of the 47% that finds work. Of that, you're part of the 15% that actually gets a job in the field they got their degree in. And now you pay off your student loans between the ages of 50 and 60. For me, that didn't seem like the best way to do it. Second, obviously, is the job market, which we already talked about. You see the average person is putting in so many hours. The average person is just living on kind of this check-to-check lifestyle. Check this out. If the average person lost their income today, they would have to declare bankruptcy within 90 days. Another definition of wealth that I've heard is if you lost your income right now, how long could you maintain your standard of living without an income? For me, when I started network marketing, it was like -2 weeks. So that's a big thing. The other route is, small business. Now, the small business market where you go out there and you're the person that you have this idea, you start your own business. How many guys have heard, starting your own business is risky, right? Or it takes money to make money. The small business market, when you look at it, that's where I got my start. I started my own auto detailing company when I was in college. I promise you it was not because I had this overwhelming passion for cleaning dirty cars. I didn't wake up every day frustrated when I saw dirty cars like, enough is enough. I need to clean these things. The reason why I started that company was I believed I could be successful at it. You know what I mean? And so I started working, just like I can do this. And I took some classes, I learned how to do it, started doing it. Here's what I found. In small business America, there's a couple challenges that most people have with it. First off, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Also, you wear every hat. In most small businesses, like when I had my detailing company, I had 3 employees. If one of them missed work, guess who had to fill in? I did. I was the accountant, I was the marketer, I was the worker, I was the boss, I was the payroll guy. I mean, I did everything. So for the most part, as opposed to having a boss, you buy yourself a job. right? And you have your own job, you're still working 53 hours a week. In fact, most cases you're working way more than the average employee because you're not only putting in the work, but everything else in your downtime, you're never truly off. You're just working and working, and you have that kind of system run. But here's what else. Your overhead and your inventory. It actually costs a decent amount of money to have an employee. Right? If you look at workman's comp and all the insurance that you have and all the things that it takes to have an employee, the overhead associated with that is huge. Also, your inventory. I had to buy product. Right? I had to buy product to go detail cars every single month. And it cost me money to go out there and buy that. In fact, the more business that I did, the more product I bought. So overhead, inventory, the time on it is huge. The big thing I see here is there's a huge lack of freedom because you go out there as you become more and more and more successful, typically the more and more and more work you have. The other avenue that became very popular is franchising. In small business America, you are the system. You run everything. In franchise America, you're buying a system. If you look at Subway franchisers or McDonald's franchisers, which we're going to talk about, think about this. Does McDonald's make the best hamburgers in the world? No. Heck no. If 3 of us got together, I'm sure we could make a better hamburger than McDonald's does. But on their sign it says billions and billions served. When's the last time you saw McDonald's going out of business? I've actually never seen a McDonald's go out of business, but has anybody seen one? And even though they make probably one of the worst hamburgers ever, they sell so many of them, so much more than anybody else. So when you buy McDonald's, anybody know how much it costs to buy a McDonald's franchise? Over $1 million. And there's a 5-year waiting list. Now, by the way, on the training note, if you are fortunate enough to be chosen to buy a McDonald's franchise, you actually have to go to Chicago and go to Hamburger University. I am not kidding. They actually teach you how to be a McDonald's franchise owner. Now, here's what's really interesting. Do you think that anyone who is bold enough to plop down $1 million for that franchise would consider missing that training? Heck no. Do you think anybody would deviate from the system at all? They say, hey, put your fry machine on the left, put your McFlurry machine on the right, put the ketchup just like this. Do you think anybody would be like, nah, I like spaghetti. I'm going to serve spaghetti at my McDonald's? No. You do everything you're told, exactly how they tell you to do it, exactly how often they tell you to do it, everything to the T. Why? Because you got $1 million on the line. Now, here's what's really interesting. The typical rule of franchising is you have to invest 5 times as much as you want to earn per year. So if you plop down $1 million, it's about depending on where your location is, between $1.1 to $1.4 million for your McDonald's franchise. And you're typically going to pull out about $250,000 of your income off of owning McDonald's. Now, I don't personally eat McDonald's, but how many of us would be smart enough to own a McDonald's, plop a lawn chair up across the street, and watch other people drive in and out of it all day long while you make $20,000 a month doing nothing? Is that smart? Warren Buffett says it best. Whatever you're passionate about, make your hobby. Whatever other people are passionate about, make your business. A year ago, I knew nothing about skincare. But how many of you guys know people with skin? Right? So I found out there's a really big market for that. Even though I didn't know much about it, I realized it was a very lucrative place to be. So franchising, let's say you go out there and you buy your own McDonald's franchise. You invest 5 times as much as you want to make, meaning you go out there and start, in 5 years from now, earning your first penny of profit. Now, are you showing up early, staying late, working your tail off? If you got $1 million on the line, heck yeah. And you go out there and you got your employees and you got your overhead, right? You got to buy buns and napkins and ketchup and salt and everything that's required to run a McDonald's franchise. You got all that overhead, you got the employees, inventory, everything. Now, let's say 5 years from now, I finally get my $250,000 a year in income. What do I want to do? What do I have to do if I want to take my income up to $500,000 a year? Double my investment. Invest another $1 million, double my employees, double my overhead, double my inventory, all of my expenses, have another 5 years go by to go out there and pay it off. Now I can have my $500,000 income.